Morning. So today we are going to be discussing Tagscores. Tagscores, as we all know, is our own assessment platform, core academic system for education institutes, etc., which helps them set up a core academic system. It is different from a typical ERP. It is different from a typical LMS. Now we are going to be digging deeper into how it works, how it functions, what are the various features. So we are going to be covering all of those things in this session. So starting off with how an assessment is done, I would like to draw your attention to this slide. So what happens in a typical assessment system, what we essentially do is we create students or create candidates who need to take assessment or who should be a part of the academic system. So it could be a training institute coaching its students, it could be a school, its students. So all those students have to be first created in the system. Step 2 is we create batches of those students. So what is a batch? So batch is basically a cohort. A cohort is a set of students who have a common attribute. What I mean by that is class 1A is a cohort. So it's a batch. So all those class 1A students would be starting the class from the same time. They will be attending the same lectures. They will be having same teachers, etc. So they'll be sharing some common attributes. So that is what we call as a batch. So we create a batch and we schedule them for an assessment. Of course, the step 3 is they will actually go through the assessment, where these people would be taking these assessments through a desktop or a laptop or a mobile device. They may also be taking the assessment through pen and paper exam, and we are going to be seeing how do we digitize a pen and paper exam to Tagscores. And then step 4 is the most important step is how do we analyze the results. Once these people have taken these exams, how do we analyze the results, how do we pass on the feedback, what are the different dashboards existing in the system, right? So this is a simple 4-step methodology for carrying out an assessment. So our software is a software as a service. Second, once the login credentials are given to the customer or to the users, we have a support team which will be helping the users on how to do stuff, etc. But the software is designed in such a manner that everything is a self-service. So like you have a Google account or you have a WhatsApp account. WhatsApp guy doesn't come and tell you how to add your friends, how to create a group, how to send a message, etc., etc., etc. Or Gmail doesn't come and tell us how to send an email, how to delete an email, how to put a bookmark on the email, so on and so forth. So it's all self-service. So they have given a software and it's a self-service. Through our documentation, through different videos, through our support team, people will get to know how to do things. Okay? And that's what we are going to be dealing with right now. So I'm going to be showing you how to do all of that. But one thing which needs to be kept in mind is it's a self-service software, and we have to promote it like that. Initially, once we set up the software, of course, there'll be a one-time training, there'll be a train the trainer session, etc., etc. There'll be some help files we'll be giving to the customers. There'll be videos we'll be giving to the customers, etc., etc. And at any point in time, if they get stuck somewhere, there'll be a dedicated support team who they can get in touch with, and they can ask their queries, and we will be resolving their queries, etc. But at the end of the day, we will have to make them empowered. We'll have to empower them to do this stuff themselves, because they don't have to depend on us. Moving into the Tagscores login, this is a login where the user is supposed to log in. What I'm doing is I'm logging in as an administrator. What is an administrator? An administrator is a master user who, once logged into the system, can access all parts, all nuts and bolts, all features of the system. So he is the super user basically. So our system is a multi-user environment. It's a multi-tenanted and a multi-user environment. Now, what is a multi-tenant system and what is a multi-user system? I'll just spend 2 minutes on explaining you what is a multi-tenant system. The multi-tenant system is basically, let's say this is Empire Estates apartment. There's a owner of Empire Estates apartments, and what he is given is, he is given everybody some share of a flat and taking some monthly deposit charges. So who am I if I'm taking this flat? I am a tenant. The guy who is sitting in 504, he is again another tenant. But at the end of the day, all of the people who are staying in different flats over here are different tenants of the same system. So this is also a multi-tenant environment, and that's how we have designed our software as well. But one thing which we need to note is, once this particular flat is closed, everything is closed, whatever we talk, whatever we do in this flat doesn't go outside, doesn't go in the above flat. Whatever is happening over here doesn't go in the above flat or below flat. The below flat doesn't have any access to what is happening over here. So there is a consistent, watertight, airtight, compartmentalized tenancy that we are giving to every customer. All the data which stays of the customer in the system is all the time secured and kept in an encrypted manner. Sometimes customers tell us that what happens to our data, etc. So our system is designed keeping in view the GDPR laws. Once you get time, go through what is GDPR. So this is a test login. So I have logged in as an administrator. An administrator, as I said, is the super user. He has got access to every part of the software. Now I'm going to be giving you an overview of what this system is, what are the different settings that exist in the system, before moving on and jumping into each of these modules. First, I will take the right hand side, which is the most important part, which is your profile settings, etc. So once I click on this, I will get to see some of the links which are situated over here. If I click on this, I land onto a page where I can update my profile. So there is my name, there is my email ID, there is a phone number. I can also put a profile pic. I can change my country. I can put a state. I can change my city, my address to, etc. There are certain master level details that once a system is set up, once an account is set up, we fill up all these details. But at any point in time, if the customer wants to change these details, if they want to update the number, etc., they can do it from this page. So this is a generic your profile management page. Now there are system settings as well. System settings where I'll be able to change the system languages over here. So I can set it up as different global languages. By default, we will get English as a default language in the system. At any point in time, because we are working with global companies, we're working with UAE, Philippines, so where different languages are spoken, so different base languages are there. So that's where we can change it to a different language. This is a time zone, whichever time zone you exist in. This is a currency. This is a question usage limit, and this is a question paper usage limit. What is a question usage limit and what is a question paper usage limit? So once an account is set up, we give some limit to number of questions which people can use and number of question papers which people can use, which can be put over here. So after, let's say I put 100 over here and I put 50 over here. So 50 number of time, 50 question papers could be used, no more than 50. So as soon as the customer hits 50 number of papers, the system will request him to be contacting with admin to increase the paper limit or the question limit. This will be shown over here. It will be shown. Whatever limit I have given to him, it will be shown. So once let's say you are my client, I give you 100 questions. You sign up with me, I give you 100 questions. So it will be 100 written over here. Question usage limit 100. But I'll revisit this again, why this concept is there, once we get into the client management part, the client list part. So we'll revisit this concept again for you to get a grasp of what it is actually. Another thing which I wanted to tell you is, in the edit profile system, you have one more. So some of the clients, if they want to change the logo of the system, it could be changed from over here. So you can choose file, select your logo, and upload your logo, this Tagscores logo would be replaced with the client's logo. So we are in a way white labeling the system for the client's needs. So let's say I am a school, I am a training institute, I am a university, and if I want to change the logo, so I'll just simply select the choose files over here and select the logo, and the logo would be uploaded. Alright, so what happens is, so I have just taken a logo of my company. So let's now become Premier Shield. So let's say we are Premier Shield and we want to use this Tagscores assessment platform and giving it out to Premier Shield for their usage. What happens is we give it in a manner that it is co-branded. So even if we still Tagscores, there will be some branding of Tagscores which we would still like to keep. So I already told you system language, time zone, currency, question usage limit, question paper usage limit. There are two more things which we have to set over here is candidate attributes and assessor attributes. And then there is a third thing called attribute aliases. Now I'll one by one tell you what is all this. For instance, the system takes some generic details of a typical candidate in the system by default. But there are different institutes, there are different coaching centers, there are different schools who have different kind of requirements. Now these requirements could be, I have set of students, I want to store their father's name as well as a part of the database which I am maintaining for these students, or the city that they hail from, or their Aadhaar number, or their date of birth. Some of the details are already there by default, so date of birth I guess is already there. So let's say I want to store which year they gotten into the institute. So these are attributes of a candidate which never change. So they will be part of the master database of the master files, so these are candidate attributes which we will maintain in the system. And these would be used at a later point in time if we want to filter out some reports based on that particular attribute. His city, year of passing, year of entry, district, branch, course, anything, right? That is your candidate attributes. Similarly, you will have assessor attributes as well. So let's say you would like to maintain assessor attributes similarly. So assessor attributes, what could be the assessor attributes? Assessor attributes is I want to introduce one more assessor attributes in my system, which is, let's say, their degree or from which they are, right? Because this is a global software, I can be having different assessors situated in different countries, so I want to have their nationality also maintained in the system. The third thing, which is aliases of the attributes which we are maintaining in the system. So we have something called an industry, we have something called as a course, we have something called as a module, we have something called as a topic, assessor and training center. Now let's say we have given these default names of these variables which are maintained in the system. Now what are these variables? So industry, so let's say you go into an institute, or let's say a school. So school, you will go and you will ask them, okay, what is industry? They will get confused. What is an industry? So they might want to call industry as something else. So it's an alias, but the structure remains the same. Okay, they probably may want to call the industry as stream. In science, commerce, and arts. So it could be stream. A course could be called as a program in a MBA institute. So they don't have they don't have a concept of course. So the system has given the flexibility to the customer to change and keep these kind of master variables and define them as their own names. Another thing I would like to tell you over here is these attributes and these assessor attributes are limitless. You can have n number of attributes attached to a candidate or an assessor. The date of birth, you will have a date format. If it is a media, if it is an image, you will select media. If it is a text, you will select text. If it is a number, you will select number. Now, Moving back to the dashboard, give you an overview of what is the dashboard, what are the different constituents of this dashboard, the total number of batches assigned, the batches conducted, upcoming batches, and total number of candidates who were assessed. This is a pie chart which says that how many people we have assessed over a period of time and what are the different courses we have assessed these students. This is a bar chart which says for every job role or course how many assessments have happened, what are the remaining candidates, how many people failed and how many people passed. Green shows how many people passed, red shows how many people failed, and yellow shows how many students are remaining from that batch. This particular chart would show you a daily number of assessments that you are doing. So there's a continuous line chart which will be shown up over here. Since this is a demo, this line is not showing because the assessments are not happening on this demo software. Otherwise, if we were having daily or let's say weekly assessment, a constant line will be shown up. So for example, what I'm doing is I'm logging in as an India Skills admin account. What India Skills is doing today. India Skills is in a way also a Tagscores customer because India Skills is using Tagscores technology, Tagscores platform, everything, right? So what I'm doing is just to show you how things look like in a live environment, I'm logging in as a India Skills admin. Take some time to load as soon as you log in, right? The same set of things what are happening in India Skills. So these are the different courses that India Skills has been doing: Sales Associate, CRM Domestic Voice, Medical Lab Technician. So these are different job roles that we are doing our assessments on. This is a consistent line chart which will be shown up over here. How many assessments we are doing on a daily basis. For example, 14, we did about 92 candidates, 16 candidates. Sometimes there is a spike, there is a huge spike. We did 121 candidates on 5th. So we will get to know what are the average of assessments that we are doing on a daily basis. This is a part of the dashboard. Last month also could be seen, but this is a consistent right now what is going on. In the report section you can see all of that. Upcoming assessments. Upcoming assessments are all the assessments that I have scheduled for a future point in time. Exam name, mode, whether it is an online or offline exam, course, batch, total number of candidates in this batch, assessor, what is the date, latest assessment details. So what we show is we show latest 5 assessments which have happened recently over here. How many were the total registered users and how many people we did for this assessment. And if I like to jump inside a particular assessment, what was the results, etc., I can click on this I symbol. Another module that we have developed which is not very relevant to the India Skills account is we also show toppers and bottom performers of the system. For a school scenario or in a university scenario, we also show top 10 performers, bottom 10 performers in a separate batch, in a certain course, etc. So that is also shown in the dashboard. There is a calendar symbol over here. So you can also see your upcoming assessments in a calendar format, right? So I have got like 23rd, I have got like 2 assessments scheduled. I have 24th, I have got assessment scheduled. I have 25th, I have got assessment scheduled. So I can view in a calendar format what are the different assessments I am going to be doing. So I can also see it in a week format, day format, month format. This we use, so we used to, so this is a deprecated feature. So this we used to use earlier when we were having different categorization for when we are delivering assessments to a business, when we are delivering assessments direct to a student, and when we are delivering assessments to a government like a SSC. So at that point in time, we were having these kind of categories. They will still work, but you do not need to focus on this because we have generalized this. So we are now working with schools, colleges, universities, SSCs. So SSCs is just one part of our business, not the entire universe of our business, right? So this is a deprecated feature. A deprecated feature is what? A deprecated feature is a feature which we used to have earlier, but it's not in use anymore. It is not relevant in today's time. So which is deprecated. Okay? This is all about your dashboard.